Moving on, planning of the risk responses. Until now, we have identified the tasks, quantified them, qualified them. Now, in this process, we can identify the solutions that could address the risks. So we are identifying the responses. Let's have a quick look at the outputs that we need. The project document get updated after we identify the responses or the solutions to it. We can move to the inputs, the project management plan, the documents. All these default inputs are considered here. Let's move to the tools. Let's see if we have something that we have not learned. Okay, we have so many things that we have not learned. We have learned expert judgment. We are consulting somebody who is good at giving solutions. We have data gathering tools, multiple data gathering tools, which can come handy. Of course, the interpersonal team skills also are important. Okay, here comes the new term, strategies for threats. What is this? The PMP guide talks about different strategies for threats and opportunities. You can see we have similar topic here to discuss. So for both threats and opportunities, and also I think we have strategies for overall project. So these three things, they have identified that we have 5 different kinds of strategies. What happens here is, firstly, we escalate. When we see risk or when we see a threat, that is the negative risk, what we can do is the stakeholders can either escalate it, he can either avoid it, he can either transfer it to somebody else, he can mitigate it. Mitigate is nothing but give a quick solution to it, or you can just accept the threat and live with it. These are the 5 strategies when a stakeholder comes across a threat. So similarly for the opportunities, what happens is, instead of avoid, we are talking about opportunities here. So instead of avoid, this avoid becomes exploit. So we still have escalate. The higher management must know that there is an opportunity. And then instead of avoiding this risk or the threat, we are going to exploit that opportunity. So we are going to see by going how much distance we can actually make good use of this. Similarly, instead of transfer, because this is not a threat, we can share the opportunities with other colleagues. So there is an opportunity here. This relates to your department. Please focus on this so that we have a better opportunity for the project, better result. So instead of mitigate here, again, when we talk about opportunities, we can enhance the opportunity. We have a smaller opportunity, how we can enhance this to turn it to a bigger opportunity. And finally, accept stays the same. So for this 4, 5, and 7, these are the 5 strategies that we should work on. We have also a new term here, contingent response strategies. What happens here is that this is in unavoidable events like a risk turning into an issue, there'll be a need for contingency plan. So just in case our original plan don't work, we have a plan B. So that is this contingency response. I think we touched upon the 7th. So moving on to data analysis, we can make use of multiple data analysis tools and the decision-making strategies that we discussed. Okay, moving on. Implementing of the risk responses. This is also done throughout the project. So let's quickly see the outputs for the sake of time. Only the outputs. We have change requests that are being updated. We have project documents like issues log, risk register, risk reports. All of this are being updated. If we talk about the inputs, all the default inputs we can consider. These are the lists. If we talk about the tools and techniques, expert consultancy, we have already discussed. The interpersonal team skills always come handy. The PMIS is also well covered, I think. So moving on to the next process, monitoring the risks. Okay, this is also done throughout the project. So similar to all other managing processes and monitoring, this is also something similar to all the managing processes. So monitoring processes, managing processes, almost the same. So what happens here is, through this we will learn if the project assumptions, if they are still valid. We do some assumptions at the beginning of the project. So whether those assumptions of the risks are actually correct or not, whether the responses that we have given, the solutions that we have given, whether they are still valid or the implementation has actually been effective or not. We monitor such things here. Let's see the outputs. The work performance information of all the individual risks and the effectiveness is recorded. The change requests are updated. The project management plan, the components like assumptions log, lessons learned, all these things are updated. The organizational process assets, as I told, there is a risk breakdown structure that we discussed similar to WBS, work breakdown structure. So if that gets updated, that means the organizational process assets, the formats of that risk breakdown structure gets updated. So this is also updated here. inputs. We can make use of project management plan, project documents, all the work performance data and reports that we discussed here. They can be made good use. Okay, any new tools here? No. I think we have also covered the data analysis tools, that anything that we have learned before is applicable here. The risk audits, what happens here is just to monitor the performance, the project manager has authority to go and audit the risks are being implemented, at the ground level or not, right? So that is also very good tools and techniques. And finally, of course, the meetings always effective.